what kind of happens after this era then? So you're going through the challenges, you're releasing your mixtapes, you're kind of hustling that. You got the engineering thing going on. You're kind of involved with the adobe. Life is kind of progressing for you. Are you ever doing anything like touring or branching out like that?
We actually, nah, not even yet. I hadn't even started touring yet. I was already doing shows in different towns, but it was never no real tour. It was just a circuit of different things, you know what I mean? And everybody used to go to all the different circuits, going up from maybe Boston down to like North Carolina.
Right. So,
So it was a lot of spots that used to get bounced from back then. But it wasn't no real tour thing. But then at that point, after the challenges and all that, that's when I started hosting. You know, the guys took a break for a minute and I stepped back and needed somebody to start hosting. So I started hosting.
so tell us a bit about what it's like to be a host for end of the week.
It's fun. Sometimes it could be a headache. Um, it's an experience. You get to deal with different personalities. You know, you definitely get to hear every different type of artist you can hear. And yeah, and you know, I did a lot of double duties too. So it would be nights I'm hosting and DJing. So
So
that
like,
was fun.
what's the responsibilities of a host, and who are your co-hosts? Like, who are the other people that took over with you?
In the beginning it was me. Then I had Majesty. So then it was me and Majesty. Then it was me, Majesty, then AP. Then I started DJing and Baxter came in. And then I was DJing for a little while. It was Baxter, AP, Majesty. Then I stepped off for a while.
And when did you get into DJing?
I always DJ. I'm not like a super scratch master, but you know, I can spin some records. And I've been doing that since I was younger as well.
Like, when did that start? That like you were young, like how, like just like opportunity appeared, or was there like a decision like I
I
want to be a
mean,
DJ?
in the hood, you always had that one or two dudes that had DJ equipment in their crib, and that's where everybody would go chill at. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. So you just get exposed to it, and then
Yeah, it was just there. It was accessible. You know,
no, it's
we always had that one dude that made beats. We always had that one dude that was a DJ. You know what I mean? Pretty much, it was always about two, three, or four dudes in the hood that rap. You know what I mean? In your direct vicinity, and that's in every. You know what I mean? Every neighborhood. It's always a few niggas that rap. But it was like everybody, it wasn't so saturated, you know. And the beat makers, you had to really be knowing how to make beats back then. It wasn't just, you know, it wasn't like a compute like with the computer. It makes it a lot easier now, but back then you had to really. It was a skill.
I find it interesting how you kind of describe it all like crews. What I'm discovering in my city is all the rappers know all the rappers, but they don't know all the other people. All the beat makers know all the beat makers, but don't know the other people. All the b-boys, they have a whole community, I found out, and I didn't even know they existed until like a year ago. Apparently there's a whole DJ scene I never heard of also. So I don't know how it got so segregated. While it's super saturated, I find it's also very segregated right now, in the sense that these different groups of people are not really congregating with each other in any real way. Maybe it's because we don't go outside like we used to, but as you're describing that, that's just kind of what popped into my head.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Everybody knew everybody that was doing something with music. Like we already knew, like, oh, that's the dude. You know what I mean? Like we already knew. Everybody knew. It was, you know, it was kind of a little popularity thing, you know. Like he's not like everybody else. Like he makes music, you know. He does this. Like he does this.
So in a sense, like people had to kind of be their own Instagram back in the day.
Oh hell yeah! Your own Instagram, your own Facebook, all that.
That's
You had to
super nifty.
actually have a phone book. You know what I mean? A book
I do
with
remember
numbers
that.
in it.
I definitely remember that.
Yeah.
It didn't
Or
last
if not,
long
you
though.
had a pager full of everybody's numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I had a pager for about a year, but then cell phones took over, so it was like kind of pointless to have a pager when I had a pager. But like, I do understand how it was with the phone book because I remember that shit where you had to like write down all your friends' numbers and whatnot. But like, so you're basically at that point you're running through the DJ stuff over time due to proximity, so you have access to it. You're just able to kind of pull it off. I guess you have a good ear for curation, given your ability to do all of the different things you can do, working with Nunzio. So what kind of happens after you pull away from the dub for?
I just go into music mode, you know. By this time I already got my own setup, you know. So I start just pretty much crafting my own shit, you know. Sitting in the house for hours and hours and just working on my shit. You know what I mean? And getting my shit right. And just recording a lot of music, you know.
And then like, are you releasing it? Are you like, promoting it
I'm
or?
releasing it, but I'm not releasing it like I still have so much music that's unreleased that I just have. But it's like I don't know, I'm picky sometimes. So it's like I don't want to release everything all the time. And that was always a problem of mine.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. When I talk to engineers, one of the most interesting things I learned is that their big, or not so much engineers, but producers and beat makers, their biggest complaint to me is the number of what they consider to be classic albums that rappers never release. Just sitting there.
Hmm.
Perfect songs because like Mix 97 3B just is not exactly a hundred. And I totally appreciate that. I
Yeah.
personally am not that guy. I don't hear the difference in these mixes. Whether that's to my advantage or to my detriment, I don't know. I totally release shit that most people would not feel is releasable. But I respect the quality though, because I have not heard a bad sounding Figueroa song. They've all been really great. So like,
Thank you.
I definitely appreciate your attention to detail. Who are some of the people that inspire you as you're going through it, and like, how does your like musical process work?
Um, it varies, you know, as far as the process, but inspiration, I watch a lot of documentaries and different shit like that. And I listen to a lot of soul music, you know, production wise. That's where that comes from. I just listen to a lot of soul music on my own time.
Right. So like,
So it's like, what happened?
no, no, keep going.
Oh yeah, no. So that's pretty much it. The process it varies. It's like my music is really in my mood, like how I'm feeling that day.
So like, do you like write lyrics? Put it all together, put the beat first, or it's just kind of random with it?
It's very random because I make beats. I ain't gonna front, I make beats pretty much every day. You know what I mean? As much as I can,
Right.
more so than writing. You know, writing I get ideas and just go into spurts and just start writing a bunch of shit down, and then I'll go back and put it together.
That's interesting. So you just kind of write stuff and then piece it into songs after the fact.
Hmm.
That's super nifty to me. Um, so as you're going through like the 2010s, I guess that's kind of what's happening. You're just kind of running your own stuff. Do you like kind of like you get into graphic design at one point, if I'm not mistaken, and you kind of grow it? You grow this into more of a business, or is it
That was more out of necessity,
fair?
just because I needed artwork. But you know, I really studied on it and just kept practicing at it till I became good at it.
Right. So basically, at that point, you're just like a one man shop for producing music and putting it out there.
Yeah, I was at that point. I just didn't want to wait on nobody. I didn't want to do. I just wanted to just get it done. So
Right.
I figured if I learn the shit, I can just do it myself.
No, it definitely speeds it up. Um, so at that point, are you still doing albums? Have you started doing albums yet at this point? And like, when do you start touring?
About 2012. And it wasn't really touring. I went to London and a couple other places, but nothing crazy. That's what I'm saying. I didn't go super touring. I wasn't crazy touring out there.
Right.
Like these other motherfuckers.
Do you want to tour, or is it like?
Yeah, I do, but time for me is not, you know what I mean? It's not on my side for that right this second. So yeah.
Yeah, I can appreciate how that is. I guess it really has to work out in a situation. I understand it to not be the cheapest endeavor. Um, but like, so like as you're running that, so like, are you like putting out albums? When do you start like focusing from like mixtapes and kind of moving into like albums and such?
Basically when as soon as I step out, I just start recording original music. And for the record, most of my mixtapes was a lot of original music. Only like the first couple early ones were like rapping over other rapping stuff.
Right.
And I did a lot of like me and Flacko. I was gonna say Dutch because I know him as Dutch Vega, but that's Flacko.
Right.
Me and him did a lot of fucking mixtapes together as well before all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was dope too.
How did you
Pre Litty Bro shit.
How did you link up with Dutch? Or-
I met Dutch through Sarah Connor. She brought him to the dub. Well, he used to come to the dub, and I just ain't know him yet. And then she took me to his crib one day, and I met.
Right. I mean, I fucks with what the Littyyy Bros sounds like. I mean, I really like it. I really think the Rear View song is in my top 5 songs of 2021. I'm not even being hyperbolic. Your parts, his part, all of it. It's just a smash of a track to me. So like in all seriousness, I fucks with that track like a lot. Um,
Oh
so
yeah,
so I think it's cool that y'all like got together and linked up and made that. How did y'all get into the Littyyy Bros vibe?
yo, that was Dutch baby. That was his baby, and it was just like, yo, he had the idea. You know what I mean? And that shit was, and it was lit. You know what I mean? Pun intended.
Right.
That shit was lit. But
Man.
yeah, that was his idea, and I just ran with it. And me and him always been really good at making music together. You know what I mean? Throughout the years, so it was a no brainer for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Um. And so when do you start getting into like creating videos and stuff?
Littyyy Bros is actually when we really started experimenting and got invested into a lot of video equipment and got the drone. And we shot a lot of that stuff ourselves and had like editors just edit it for us. And yeah, she was dope.
Yeah. No. I definitely appreciate those videos. I mean, like I've seen them all at this point. Working with Dutch on a show, you end up like kind of consuming a lot of his music and whatnot. But I really enjoy the vibe of it, and a lot of those videos look like, yo, I kind of want to be there. Y'all look like you're having a real good time filming that shit.
And we are.